Hey guys, it's your girl Kaylee Sparks here with you today, and today we are going to do the finishing of our crochet pineapple romper. Today we are going to create our shorts, and we're also going to do our attachment. My attachment is super neat, guys. I'm going to show you step by step how to do this attachment, and we are going to do the finishing of our crochet pineapple top. But before we get into this video, I want to clarify something. Most of you supposed to notice that what I call a double crochet is actually not a double crochet. It is shorter than a double crochet but taller than a half double crochet. So we need to make a name for this crochet. Whether we are going to call it Kaylee double crochet, Sparks double crochet, or KS double crochet. Leave some comment down in the bottom and let me know, guys, what we are going to call that stitch, because we need to stop calling it double crochet because it is not a double crochet. So I want to explain why my stitches is different from the rest of the crochet artists. Well, because I said in the last video, no one teach me how to do crochet. I have never read a diagram on how to do crochet, and when I just started doing crochet, I did not watch a tutorial on how to do crochet. So that's why I said that I am a self-taught crochet artist, guys. I don't know how. I guess my hands are just gifted. That's just the gift that God gave me, and I'm working with it. So I'm not going to change my stitch to call it double crochet. I like this stitch, so I'm going to just work with this stitch. If you guys want to do regular double crochet, no problem. Do what you think is best. So let me clarify something else. Most of my tutorial are improvised tutorial. That simple means that if someone send me a pic and say, I'm asking you to do this tutorial, I just grab that pic and I just take my phone and just start videoing the same time. Even when I just wake up and I feel inspired by making my own design, I just grab my phone and just start doing a tutorial without making a tester. Guys, I don't know how I do it. I just guess that's just my gift. So if you want to hear more about my crochet journey when I was starting doing crochet, make sure, guys, that you leave a comment down below. So don't want this video to be too long, so let's jump into it. Start off by creating a slip knot. Make a chain that is long enough to go around your hips, and do not put too much tension on your starting chain. So I have 156 chain, so I look for my next end. Make sure that your chain is not twist, and slip stitch right into your starting chain. And recheck if your chain is twist. Then chain up 2, yarn over, go right into that first stitch, weaving your ends while you go. Pull up a hoop, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull up a hoop, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. So you're just going to continue to do this and go into each and every stitch, and when you reach to this end, I'll tell you what next to do. So I'm close to the end of this round. Yarn over, go into that next stitch with a double crochet. Yarn over, go into this last stitch space here with a double crochet as well. And then slip stitch into your starting chain, chain up 2, yarn over, go right into this space right in between with a double crochet, and this is what going to help us to get a straight line. Yarn over, go into that next stitch, and you're just going to continue to go into each and every space, and when we reach around to this side, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So I'm close to the end of this round. Yarn over, you see this space right here, we're going to place a double crochet right into that spot, and this is going to help our work to form out with a straight line. Slip stitch now into the next section, and it's help us to give us an increase so that our work could sit on our body more better. So chain up 2, yarn over, go into that space here. So we start with an increase and we finish with an increase. Yarn over, go into the next stitch and create a double crochet, and into the next, and you're just going to continue to do double crochet right around. I'll meet you at the next end. So I'm close to the end of this row, and remember guys, when you reach to this one, always make a double crochet right into this space. So place a double crochet there and slip stitch right across in your starting chain. Chain up 2, yarn over, go right into this space right here guys. Always remember we are doing increase at the 2 section, and you'll see later why we'll do that increase. Alright, so just continue do this. You're going to do a couple rows. I'll let you guys know how much rows in all you're supposed to do, and just continue to do this. So I'm close to the end of this row. This row will make 22 rows. Alright, look very carefully guys. Yarn over, go in between the space right here with a double crochet. Don't forget that guys. Then slip stitch and join. Alright, so that is the way it look. So if you take note, you see a straight line in between. Straight line in between. Alright, so turn your work, chain up 10, so after you chain your 10, so I count the bottom and I have 174 in all right around. So I split that 174 into 2 and I have 87. So what I did, I put my stitch marker at that 87 space, which it would be right in the half of our shorts. So that would be the half of our shorts. So what we're going to do now is to make a slip stitch right into that space, and chain 2, then cut off our yarn. So remove your stitch marker from that spot, and then try to find the 5th chain, which will be the half right here. So 1 2 3 4 5. So we're going to go into that 5 spot. That's where we're going to start our work from. Create a slip knot on your yarn, pull through that spot and chain 2, so that's 1 2. all right. So yarn over, weave in your ends while you go into that next chain space with a double crochet. Yarn over, go into the next space with a double crochet, yarn over, go into the next space with a double crochet, yarn over, go into that last stitch. Guys, make sure that you go into each and every space because you don't want your shorts to have a hole. Yarn over, go into that space right here with a double crochet, yarn over, go into the next stitch, and you're just going to continue and to go into each and every space, and when you reach to this end I'll tell you what next to do. So your work's supposed to look like this. Yarn over and go into this little space right here. It's going to give you a little trouble to push in your hook, but don't miss that space, and pull through one, then pull through all three. Then go into that next stitch, pull up a hoop, pull through one, pull through all three, and go into each and every chain space with a double crochet, because we don't want any hole in between our shorts. Alright, go into that last stitch, and then slip stitch into your starting chain, and that's the way your short's supposed to look. Alright, so just chain up 2, yarn over, go into that first space and create a double crochet into that space, and go into each and every space of your shorts, and I'll be back with you when you reach to this end. So I'm close to the end of this rounds. Okay, so just make a slip stitch right here and close, chain up 2, yarn over, go into that space and create your double crochet. So you're just going to continue to do this and make it to the length of your choice, and I'll tell you how much row I'm going to do. Just continue doing this. So I did 5 row, 1 2 3 4 5, but for this row it's going to be the same thing, but I'm going to do a reduction. So yarn over, go into that first stitch and make a double crochet, and then yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3, and there we did our reduction. So yarn over, go into the next stitch and continue to do your double crochet. So I'm close to the end of this row, and this row would classify as 6 row in all. And then slip stitch right into your starting chain, so we don't go into the in between here, we don't go through there, so just slip stitch right there. Alright, so what we're going to do now is slip stitch into the space here, then chain up 2, yarn over, go into that space, and we are going to create a shell. So this round is going to be the final round. So chain 1, yarn over, go back into that same space and create the next side of your shell. So your shell is supposed to be looking like this with a chain 1 in between. Alright, so go into the next one with a slip stitch, yarn over, skip 1, go into the next one with a double crochet. So we're making a shell here again. And then skip 1, go into the next one with a slip stitch, yarn over, skip 1, go into next one with a shell. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, then 2 more double crochet, so that's 1 and that's 2. So that's how we are making our shell for this rounds. Skip 1, go into the next one with a slip stitch, yarn over, skip 1, go into the next one with a shell. Skip 1, go into the next one with a slip stitch, yarn over, skip 1, go into the next one with a shell. And this is how your work's supposed to look. So we are just going to continue to do this, and I'll meet you at the end of this round. So I'm close to the end of this round, so I'm creating my shell. Slip stitch into the next space, yarn over, go into the next second space and create another shell. Chain 1, go into that space again and finish off your shell. So we're going to do a little bit different than how we normally slip stitch. We are going to slip stitch from the back. So put in your hook from the back space and then go into that second space, pull right through. Alright, so chain up 2 and then cut off your yarn. So your work's supposed to be looking like this. Alright, so I'm going to finish the next side off camera and I'll be right back with you. So this is the finishing of my shorts. Super cute, guys. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and be a part of the Sparks family. So this is it. So I'm going to do the attachment now with the top on the bottom, but I'm going to weave off my ends first and I'll show you how to do that. So you're going to find the front of your shorts and find the center where you want to put the middle of your pine. So I just place a stitch marker at that section. So I just count around my shorts, see how much space is that, and then divide that into 2, just like how we did the shorts bottom, and put a stitch marker there. So turn your work. So this is the inside of my top, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold it into half. You can also take a stitch marker to put at the back. I give right in the middle some space, so you can just use your stitch marker to hold that spot for you, just like that. Take this section of your top and carry it right to where you're going to start from. Alright, so just turn it to how you can manage it. I'm going to remove my stitch marker because I know how how to set this section, but you can keep yours if you choose to. Alright, so I put my hook in between that space where I want, and then I'm going to put my hook in between the top of my blouse where I want to start from. Right where I had my cut off from, that's where I'm going to start from. Take your yarn and you're going to create a slip knot, and you're just going to pull right through that spot, right? And you're going to yarn over and pull through just to fasten that section. Go right back into that same space, and if you notice where I'm going at the top of my shorts where I did my starting chain, going right back into that same space and then weaving my ends while I go. Alright, so the top of my blouse where I have this space where I did my mesh, I'm going to go into that space, pull through, and then yarn over and then pull through 2. So I'm doing a single crochet. Go into the next stitch, go into that same space one more time. So I'm going into that space 2 times in all. So yarn over and pull through. Go into the next stitch, and I'm going right in between that shell space right there. Yarn over and pull through. Go into that next stitch, and I'm going to go right in between my shell, and I'm doing a single crochet again. So this section will be doing only single crochet. Go into the next space and go in between that shell space 2 times. So we are doing 2 single crochet in between that shell space. Go into our next stitch and go into the next part of our shell with a single crochet. Go into that next stitch, and then this space right here, we are going to go into that space 6 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last one, 6. So this is how our work look from the inside, and this is how it look from the outside. Super neat. See that, guys? So neat. Alright, so turn your work again. Go into that next stitch. Go into your shell, the part of your shell. Go into the next stitch, go into the center of your shell. Go into the next stitch and go one more time in the center of your shell. So 2 single crochet in the center of your shell. Go into the next stitch and go into the next part of your shell. Hope you guys are understanding. Go into that next stitch, and this big space here, we're going to go into it 6 times. Last one, 6 times. Alright, so go into the next stitch and go into that part of your shell. Go into the next stitch, go into the center of your shell 2 times. So that's 1, and that's 2. Go into the next stitch, go into the next part of your shell, go into the next stitch, go into that big section 6 times. last one, 6. Go into that next stitch, and we're going to go into this space that is at, this would be exactly at our side. We're going to go into that space one time. Go into that next space, go into this mesh now 4 times. This mesh that is in between our shell, we're going to go into each of them 4 times. So go into that space. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4. Go into the next stitch and go into the next space 4 times. So you're just going to continue to do this, and when you reach to the center of your top, I'll tell you what next to do. So just continue doing this. So I reach right into the middle of my pineapple, right in the middle. So I have 2 stitch marker here because I'm going to have to put, it's just a reminder to let me know I'm going to put 3 single crochet into this space. So go into that next stitch, pull up a hoop and pull through. So that's 1. Go into the next one, that's 2, and go into that next stitch. So that's 3, and then go into the next stitch right into our shell, go into the next one, and that's the center of our shell. So the same thing that we did for this section, that's the same thing we're going to do for this section. So just continue to do that, and I'll meet you at the end of our bottom. So I'm close to the end of this section. Go into this space 2 times. So that's 1. And that's 2. So this stitch right here now, where we have our stitch marker, we are going to go into our stitch where we have our back section and pull through. Chain 1, remove that stitch marker at the back, and then we are going to do some single crochet to smooth this little section, some single crochet there. So just go into the next stitch, and we're going to go into the same stitch 2 times. So that's 1, go into the next one, and that's 1, and that's 2, go into the next one, that's 1, one more time, that's 2, go into the next space, that's 1, go into the other space, that's 2, go into the other space, one more time. Alright, so we did smooth off that section. What we're going to do now is just go into our shell space right here and just make a slip stitch. So it's supposed to be looking like this, a smooth finish right there, and round your shawl is supposed to have this smooth finish. So what we're going to do next, we are going to make a border. We're going to knit up this section as well. So go into that space with your hook, and you're going to go into this space 3 times. Alright, so do 1 double crochet there, single crochet there. Alright, so just go into each and every space 3 times. And I'll meet you back when you finish this section and tell you what next to do. So I'm close to the end of this row. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. So slip stitch into that space that you have your chain coming up, and then slip stitch into the shorts. Then chain up your 2 and then cut off your yarn.